We are entering week 6 of the college football season, and I have a pretty short video for you guys today. There's not a lot of games I want to break down for this week, but before I get into it, please like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a whole lot to this channel, but let's get right into it, starting with Florida State versus Miami. And this game would have had a lot more shine if Florida State hadn't completely screwed it up last week against Virginia. We could have had undefeated Florida State versus undefeated Miami for the first time in like forever. But instead, we've got one team that's pretty much still cruising and the other that's trying to pick itself off the mat. But don't get it twisted. I still think it's going to be a really, really good game. Florida State, they're licking their wounds. And the question is whether they can go full wounded animal mode and rise to the occasion at home against the Miami team that has looked at times like the best team in the country. A lot of people are counting Florida State out of this one after that embarrassing road loss. And honestly, I think that might actually work in their favor here. Last week was their first true road test, and this week it's Miami's first true road test. So call me delusional, but I actually like Florida State's chances in this game. The offense has looked really good, but now we get the ultimate measuring stick, the toughest defense we'll probably face all year. And if we can keep the penalties and mistakes down, the home crowd should tilt the game our way. The real concern here is defense. Had a really poor showing last week. No way around it. They've got to tighten things up against this Miami offense. At least Carson Beck isn't a major threat on the ground, which is what pretty much shredded us against Virginia. If we can force him into a off day, I think the chances are pretty good, and I think that changes everything. And of course, this is Miami versus Florida State. It's a rivalry game, and those don't really follow logic a lot of the time. So again, I think there's a really good shot. So if Florida State does drop this one, though, this season could start to spiral. But if they win, suddenly they're right back on track. So give me the Noles. I got to rock with my team. I think they're going to win this Saturday. Next up, Vanderbilt versus Alabama. And last weekend, Alabama proved that they are not the same team we saw stumble in week 1. Don't get me wrong, they are definitely still a flawed team. The run game hasn't clicked. The secondary can be picked apart, and the offense comes and goes as it pleases. But Ty Simpson, he looks really sharp and really accurate. The penalties have been cleaned up, and there's a competitive edge to that team now that they didn't have in week 1. They look locked in, and they're at home in this game with revenge on their minds after what Vanderbilt did to them last season. But here's the thing. Vanderbilt is not just some plucky underdog anymore. This is not a catching them at the wrong time situation. They are flat out a good football team. The offense has been humming all season, and what more can you say that hasn't already been said about Diego Pavia? That guy is a dog, and now he's got some legit weapons to work with. Defensively, Vandy has been pretty steady, honestly. Utah State did find some cracks last week, but this is the same Vanderbilt team that held South Carolina to just 7 points in Virginia Tech. They shut them out in the second half. If this was a classic look-ahead spot for Alabama, I'd be a lot more worried, but given what happened last year, there's no way the Tide isn't taking this matchup seriously. I think Alabama wins this one, but I think Vanderbilt is going to make them earn it. This should be a much better game than a lot of people are expecting. Moving on now to Texas versus Florida, and this is a game that I had circled in the preseason because I thought it was going to be a showdown between two of the best teams in the SEC. Now I've got it circled, but for all the wrong reasons. Both of these teams have been pretty disappointing this year. Honestly, this feels more like a matchup to figure out who's going to suck less than two really good teams. Now, there is a real chance that one of these teams flips the switch and figures it out and uses this as a turning point for the season, but the resumes so far point to something very different, like an ugly game with its very low scoring, a defensive battle. Both defenses, like I said, they're legit. Both offenses, though, basically on life support. Arch Manning is not living up to the hype. And DJ Lagway, he just keeps throwing the ball to the other team. That said, I am confidently picking Texas in this game. Florida's offenses look dead in the water all season, and the Longhorns, on the other hand, still have the kind of talent that could wake up at any time, and I think this might be the week it happens. And if you need more proof, we've seen Florida go against another defense-heavy team. That was LSU. They got doubled up, and against Miami, they almost got shut out. Texas may not be perfect at offense right now, but they are getting better every single week, even if it's been against nobodies. So yeah, I think that this one's going to look sluggish and pretty ugly, but Texas should walk out of the swamp with a win. Next, let's talk about Virginia versus Louisville. And Virginia's coming into this game off of a huge overtime win at home against Florida State. And now they've got to turn around and go on the road to face an undefeated Louisville team that just found a way to rally and beat Pitt. This matchup has all the makings of a shootout. Both teams have high-flying offenses that can put points on the board in a hurry. The defense for me is the defenses. I trust Louisville's defense more, and when you pair that with home field advantage and a coaching staff that I really trust and have a lot of faith in, I've got to lean Louisville here. That doesn't mean that Virginia isn't good. They definitely are, but I can't quite trust them to maintain last week's momentum and success in a tough road environment like this. We've already seen them drop one game on the road against North Carolina State, and I think we're going to see them drop another one here. Give me the Cards to stay undefeated. And last but certainly not least, I have Mississippi State versus Texas A&M. Mississippi State has proven to be a lot better than a lot of people have expected, myself included. Blake Shapen has really come into his own at quarterback, and Fluff Bothwell has emerged as a lethal running back that can keep defenses on their heels. But I still really like Texas A&M this season. I love Mike Elko as a coach. Marcel Reed has been really impressive at quarterback. They've got dangerous weapons on the perimeter, and their defense, which has been the weakest link last season and for parts of this year as well, really stepped up last week against Auburn. I think this is a very dynamic A&M team that's not only going to keep improving as the season goes on, but they're also playing this game at home, and that gives them an extra edge. That said, I do think it's going to be a close game because I'm not ready to say that their defense has been completely fixed yet. Still, if the Aggies limit some of their mistakes they made last week, I think they walk out of this one with a win. But that's all for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, peace.